Praise the Lord, my MDiv cohort. How y'all doing? I hope all is well. Hope you had an absolutely awesome weekend. This is Corey, your classmate, and I'm logging in to do this chapter review for our spiritual formation class, Addiction and Grace, Love and Spirituality, and the Healing of Addictions. Chapter 1 was very interesting, I must say. It was very interesting. I enjoyed reading it. I highlighted a lot of stuff. My primary takeaway is, number one, it talks about desire. How we all have a desire. It is an innate desire, deep down embedded on the inside of us. Truly, this desire is for God. That there's a space and a place that can only be filled by God. It can only be occupied with God. There's a thirst that can only be quenched by God. There's a hunger that can only be satisfied by God. But what we try to do, we try to fill it with any and everything else. We try to quench it, and we try to satisfy it with any and everything else. And as Fred Hammond says, it won't work. It don't work. It don't work. And one thing that we do, as the book talks about, we repress. Chapter 2, it was interesting. It says, I see two forces that are responsible, repression and addiction. We all suffer from both repression and addiction. And it goes on to talk about those two aspects, how we try to repress that desire that we have for God. We repress it, or we become addicted to other things, trying to fill it and trying to quench it and trying to meet that need and satisfy that need. We become addicted to so many other different things. It says, while repression stifles desire, addiction attaches desire, bonds, and enslaves the energy of desire to certain specific behaviors, things, or people. These objects of attachment then become preoccupations and obsessions. They come to rule our lives. It is a trick of the enemy. They come to master us. They come to rule over us. The bottom of page 3 says, moreover, our addictions are our own worst enemies. They enslave us with chains that are of our own making, and yet that paradoxically are virtually beyond our control. Addictions also make idolaters of us all, because it forces us to worship these objects of attachment. So what I got out of it is that we have this desire, we have this place and space that can only be filled by God. We either repress the desire, or we develop these addictions that try to stand in the gap and take the place of God. And it's of the enemy, cannot be filled. We develop these addictions. And that makes so much sense, because addictions is more than just drugs and alcohol. It can be success. It can be habits. It can be just addicted to other things, y'all, that necessarily it doesn't fill that place or that space. And so what do we do? What I got out of it is that the solution is grace. That grace is the most powerful force in the universe. It says grace is where our hope lies. Yet and still another paradox, our addictions can lead us to deep appreciation of grace. They can bring us to our knees. And so what I got out of the reading was that grace is the answer that we need. We're talking about recovery and deliverance as a form of spiritual formation. I'm looking forward to this semester. I'm looking forward to delving deeper into the topic of recovery and deliverance as a form of spiritual formation. I think that if we would be honest with ourselves, got these gray hairs, y'all driving me crazy. If we will be honest with ourselves, we are all addicted to something. And I'm interested in learning more about how to recover and how to seek God for deliverance after discovering some of my hang-ups and habits and things that I may be turning to and attaching myself to as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I've been repressing, what I may perhaps be addicted to, leaning and depending on the grace of God, and also the recovery and deliverance as my spiritual formation for this semester. So hope y'all got something out of that. Look forward to seeing y'all in class. Deuces.